Kevin goes, Andrew stays. Barry goes, Kevin stays. Both go, both stay.
Well, first of all, I'm on record as saying that I do think that Kevin deserves a chance to coach this football team when he has a quarterback that he can win consistently with, and I don't know that he's really had that yet here for any length of time. So I do think that if he went somewhere else and had a quarterback that he can work with and win with.
They took away a moment that Shedeur Sanders could have had, and I know that it probably isn't premeditated, but it feels like it.
Yeah, no.
The whole world feels like it. He played great yesterday, Dan.
Yeah,
Shedeur played great.
Yeah, he had some big-time throws. I agree with you. Like, at some point, he marches you right down the field. Big game. I want to see it. I would love to see you go make that play.
There's only one person in the world who didn't want to see it, and that was the coach who called this nonsense at the end of the game. See what? Who made the best play in the NFL?
Y'all hear that? That's what Get Up got to say. I'm happy Greeny called out and said it's nonsense. Greeny said that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Should have never happened that way. I'm happy Greeny said it. And I'm happy he didn't mince his word. Rex wasn't there. Rex called in sick. Rex didn't make it. Rex did not make it this morning.
Kevin goes, Andrew stays. Barry goes, Kevin stays. Both go, both stay. Y'all hear that? That's what Get Up got to say. So, don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. Nah, listen, this isn't noise anymore. This isn't just another loud morning segment, another hot take cycle, another Cleveland's a mess joke that we're all supposed to shrug at and move on. This right here, this is what it sounds like when an organization starts cracking in public. Because when you hear analysts on national TV stop tiptoeing, when you hear beat reporters stop speaking in those polite little riddles, when people who usually protect the building start saying words like nonsense with their chest, something is coming. Something's already in motion. And as a fan, you can feel it. You don't need a press release. You don't need an official statement. You can feel when the vibes turn. When the decisions stop looking like development and start looking like panic, because that's what Cleveland has been living in, confusion dressed up as a plan, and fans have been getting gaslit for months like we're crazy for noticing it. Trust the process. It's a long season. They're evaluating. Yeah, evaluating what exactly? Evaluating how long they can keep playing games with everybody's eyes? Because let's be real, the frustration isn't just that things haven't worked, it's how they haven't worked. It's the way the whole situation has felt off. Like certain guys get grace and certain guys get judged like it's court. Like certain quarterbacks get excuses baked into the narrative, and Shedeur Sanders gets treated like he's got to throw a perfect game just to earn a fair look. And that's why this moment matters. Not because of one game, not because of one throw, but because the whole country is watching the same thing we're watching and finally saying it out loud. And here's the part people keep missing. This isn't really about football anymore. This is about control. This is about who's running the building. Because when the owner starts getting mentioned in the same breath as quarterbacks, coaches, and job security, that means the process has expired. That means the patience is gone. That means somebody upstairs is tired of looking stupid on Sundays. And if ownership is watching, really watching, then every decision from this point on has a shadow attached to it. Every play call, every snap distribution, every weird rotation, every time a rookie sits while the offense stalls. Because now it's not just about winning games. It's about proving you're aligned. It's about proving you're not the reason the investment fails. That's the line in the sand. That's the tipping point. Cleveland isn't debating anymore. Cleveland is choosing sides. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it. If everyone's job suddenly depends on one quarterback, what does that tell you about who the owner believes in? Let's get one thing straight right now. Shedeur Sanders' position inside that building is not what Twitter says it is, and it's definitely not what the depth chart graphic tells you on Sunday morning, because there's a huge difference between where a quarterback is listed and where he actually stands. And Cleveland fans know this. We've seen this movie before. The competition that isn't really a competition, The evaluation that somehow always buys time for the people already in charge. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Depth charts are politics. Evaluation is power. And once an owner commits, really commits, draft position stops mattering. 5th round, 1st round, undrafted. None of that matters when the guy upstairs decides this is the one we're measuring everything against. That's when the language changes. That's when development quietly turns into alignment. And that's exactly where Shedeur is right now. Because Shedeur isn't fighting to start tomorrow. He's fighting to be the plan. And those are two very different things. Starting a game can be temporary. Being the plan, that exposes everybody. That forces coaches to show their hand. That forces front offices to stop hedging. That forces play callers to either build something real or reveal they never believed in it to begin with. That's why this whole fair competition narrative always felt fake. Fans weren't crazy. You could feel the stall tactics. You could hear the talking points get recycled. He needs more reps. We want to see consistency. It's too early. All code for one thing. Buy time. Buy time to see if the noise dies down. Buy time to protect egos. Buy time to avoid committing. But that era is ending fast. Because now Shedeur is the reference point. He's not just another rookie. He's not just a backup. He's the measuring stick. Every decision gets compared to him. Every struggle gets framed around him. Every coach, every coordinator, every executive gets evaluated based on one simple question. Are you helping this kid succeed, or are you in the way? That's why the energy shifted. That's why the tone changed. Because when ownership starts watching through that lens, excuses don't land the same. And when a quarterback becomes the evaluation tool, the pressure flips directions. It's no longer on him to prove he belongs. It's on everyone else to prove they do. The Browns aren't asking if Shedeur can play. They're asking who can survive if he does. Let's talk about the excuses because they're getting thinner by the week. You can hear it in the tone now. The critics don't sound confident anymore. They sound irritated, defensive, because the old talking points aren't holding up, and deep down they know it. See, when Shedeur Sanders struggles, it's supposedly proof he's not ready. But when the offense around him collapses, suddenly it's context. Suddenly it's football is hard. That double standard has been loud from day one. Think about what they're asking him to do. They say, evaluate him in a vacuum. Cool. Let's actually do that. Strip away the noise. Strip away the excuses. Look at what he controls. Ball placement, timing, decision-making, pocket presence. And when you do that, the picture gets uncomfortable for a lot of people because the tape shows throws hitting receivers in the hands and getting dropped. It shows reads being made on time with pressure screaming off the edge. It shows calm footwork in chaos, not panic. And that's the part nobody wants to dwell on. Because once you evaluate him in a vacuum, the spotlight swings hard. Drop passes aren't on the quarterback. Protection that caves in 2 seconds isn't on the quarterback. Routes that don't threaten defenses, play calls that feel predictable, substitutions that look disorganized. That's not rookie stuff. That's structure. That's coaching. And every time someone tries to use those failures as a knock on Shedeur, it boomerangs right back at the people designing the offense. That's why this has always felt bigger than football. Because some of this resistance isn't about performance. It's about preference, about who they wanted, about egos not wanting to be wrong. We've seen this before, young quarterbacks labeled projects while vets get infinite patience. Think about how long it took for people to stop doubting guys like Jalen Hurts. Same playbook, same whispers, until the excuses ran out. And here's the thing, owners understand better than anyone. Wasted investments hurt more than losing seasons. You can recover from bad years. You don't recover from sabotaging a quarterback you believed in. That's when people lose jobs. That's when heads roll quietly and suddenly. So now, every dropped pass tightens the pressure. Every busted protection raises questions. Every weird call late in a drive adds weight. Because the excuses aren't protecting anyone anymore. They're exposing them. And when the excuses finally run out, accountability shows up, and it never knocks softly. Pressure changes everything. And for Shedeur Sanders, that's not a threat. That's the environment he's always lived in. See, people hear pressure and immediately think it's unfair, like it's something that's going to crush a young quarterback. But that tells me they haven't been paying attention to who this kid actually is. Pressure doesn't break players like Shedeur. It exposes everyone else. Because pressure is only dangerous when you don't believe in what you're doing. And that's why this moment is terrifying for certain people in that building. Coaches who aren't fully bought in, play callers who don't trust their quarterback, decision makers who wanted a safer option. Urgency strips all of that away. When your job is on the line, you stop experimenting, you stop hedging, you either commit or you get exposed. And let's kill this idea right now that this is too much for a rookie. Shedeur Sanders played college football with a national spotlight hotter than most NFL quarterbacks will ever experience. Every throw dissected, every mistake amplified, every win dismissed, every loss blamed on him. He didn't flinch, he didn't hide, he didn't point fingers. He showed up, answered questions, and went back to work. That's composure. That's maturity. That's someone built for moments where the walls start closing in. This isn't unfair pressure. This is clarity. This is alignment or exit. And that's exactly how it should be. Because once everyone's future is tied to the same outcome, the excuses disappear. The play calling gets sharper. You stop calling scared. You stop shrinking the field. You stop protecting systems and start protecting players. Usage changes. The offense starts to reflect the quarterback's strengths instead of hiding behind tendencies. And you can feel that shift coming. The tone inside the building doesn't stay passive when urgency hits. Meetings get louder, decisions get faster, priorities get clearer. Suddenly, the same people who were hesitant are locked in not because they changed their minds, but because they don't have a choice anymore. That's the part fans should actually feel hopeful about. Because pressure doesn't create lies, it kills them. It forces honesty. It reveals who's really about winning and who is just comfortable surviving. And when a quarterback like Shedeur becomes the axis everything spins on, there's nowhere left to hide. Because when everyone's future is tied to one quarterback, the truth finally comes out. This is the moment that's going to define the Cleveland Browns win or lose. And I don't mean define them in the standings. I mean define them in reputation, in credibility, in how the rest of the league looks at this organization when it comes to young quarterbacks. Because this isn't just a Cleveland story anymore. This is an NFL story. This is about whether talent gets protected or wasted, about whether owners actually lead or hide behind the people they hired. Every year we watch the same cycle. A young quarterback flashes. The situation is messy. The messaging gets muddy. And somehow, the blame always lands on the kid, not the structure, not the chaos, not the indecision. And franchises spend years trying to recover from that mistake. Some never do. That's why this moment matters so much, because Cleveland is standing at that exact fork in the road. Here's my prediction, and I don't think it's bold at all. Shedeur Sanders is going to get his opportunity. A real one, not a ceremonial start, not a panic plug-in. An actual stretch where the offense belongs to him. And when that happens, some people are not going to survive it. Because clarity cuts both ways. If he succeeds, the excuses evaporate instantly. And if he doesn't, at least everyone will know the truth. Either way, the fog lifts. And when that fog lifts, the narrative is going to flip fast. You already know how this goes. The same voices that questioned his maturity, his arm, his readiness, suddenly they saw it coming. Suddenly they liked the talent all along. That fake support, that media revisionism, it always shows up right on time. It's predictable. And it's loud. But real ones will remember. Fans who stayed patient. Fans who watched the tape instead of the headlines. Players around the league who are watching how this organization handles a quarterback with pressure on him. Because trust me, they notice. They always do. Power shifts fast in this league. Respect shifts even faster. This is bigger than one player. It's about whether Cleveland finally chooses alignment over ego, whether leadership actually steps in when it matters, whether a franchise known for instability decides to do something different when it counts. This isn't the end of the story. This is the moment it finally gets honest.